Alright, can you believe that after almost a year, I have made a total of 16 of these videos? Which is incredibly underwhelming for what I know I am capable of, so... I decided to make this one not even 2 days after the last video. And we're doing something fun for this one. So for the past few months, I want to say, I've been redrawing a scene from each episode of my favorite classic anime, Kimba the White Lion, and I've been sharing those pictures on my DeviantArt, but also on the Kimba fan page on Facebook. One of the many, anyway. And I thought, well, I've been doing these, and they take a pretty good amount of time to draw. Certainly not any less than the normal stuff I do, so why don't I record the process so y'all who like to look at these pictures, you can not only see it, but you can see how exactly I make it, which I thought would be a fun little change of pace. So yeah, I'm going to redraw a scene from episode... I don't remember what episode, actually. Episode 12, I think it is. So yeah, because I'm up to 12 now. So yeah, you get to watch that. I'm talking too long. Let's just do it. So, I did say this is episode 12. Yeah, so episode 12 is, I think, one of the only, part 2 situations in the original 1965 version of Kimba, which is really weird for shows during that timeline anyway, because you didn't really get, a part 1, part 2 sort of situation. Maybe in, Star Trek or stuff like that, I can see that happening, but, for animation, that wasn't very commonplace until the 80s, when G.I. Joe and Transformers and stuff like that started to become popular. And it doesn't, in the episodes, when you look at them to see which episode was what, and that it doesn't say part 1, part 2. Each episode has its own title, but when you watch the series and you see it, you're like, oh, this is just part 2 of the last episode, which is really cool that it did that. And it's the only time it does that in the original 1965 series. I think there's a few moments like that in the 80s version, but the 80s version of Kimba is a little more hardcore. And then the 70s reboot is something we all like to forget about, mostly due to the abhorred voice acting. That being said, yeah, I'm up to episode 12 now, which, as I have said a couple times now, is a part 2 of sort of this mini saga that goes on at this point, and there are 52 episodes in total of pretty much all the series, which I think is interesting. They all go up to at least at most 52, in the 65 version, and in the sequel to that, which is really kind of like a second season, even though it's almost a decade later. They have 52 episodes, I think. The 85, or 85, or which year was the 80s version? I don't remember. I just know it was in the 80s, and you can tell. The animation's a lot better in it, or a lot more modern, I guess. I don't know his name, but the voice for Light Yagami from Death Note, I don't remember what the voice actor's name is, but he voice acts Kimba in that series, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, that one also has 52 episodes. So it's interesting to see, in each rendition of the series, it has sort of that going. Of course, after that, they just made a bunch of movies and specials, and we haven't seen anything Kimba related since 2009. So, as sad as that is, I mean, at least we got that much, I guess. And if you're not part of the Kimba fandom, which I wouldn't be surprised, it's kind of a small fandom, and it's one of those things where you're either into it or you're not. And a lot of people who are into it are gung-ho all the way. And I like that. It's just because I've met a lot of the fans, and I'm in a few of the fan groups for it, and just meeting the different individuals there and how passionate they are for the series, which most people are surprised if you even have heard of it, let alone are a fan of it, because it's so old. There's a lot of interesting individuals in it, and a lot of people who would love to see the series sort of re-emerge as unlikely as that is. We're moving along pretty quick in this one. You're going to notice a lot of differences between the original scene and my rendition, obviously, because with my art style I try to have realistic proportions, especially for animals, while at the same time retaining the originality, that essence of Osamu Tezuka's art style, and making it, cartoony and cute looking, but at the same time also having that natural sort of feel to it. You'll notice with this character here, I don't remember her name, but she's posing as Kimba's aunt when she's not really. But in the original version, she's kind of slender and as many of the adult female characters are, because a lot of them are pretty copy-paste with their designs, I've noticed. Which, not very surprising for this time period of animation. There wasn't a whole lot of difference between, certain characters, except for one might have a slightly different hair color or hairstyle, one might just be a palette swap of the other. That was very commonplace back then. So I'm taking some artistic liberty, giving her some more natural proportions, like I was saying, because I like to give my animals at least that feel that you know what you're looking at. And lionesses are pretty bulky. Well, lions in general are bulky, but so I'm kind of making her a little less that slender build that she has in the original. I'm giving her more that built sort of physique that a lion or a lioness would have. And I'll show the original version at the end of this video, so you get a peek at that. Kimba I'm not changing too much, and again, if you've seen my other redraws from the other 11 episodes, I've been pretty consistent. There were a few differences in this one, because this one I drew from hand, or scratch. I didn't use my pre-made cells that I normally just copy-paste, adjust as required in angle or whatever, because this one, just the angles on this were so different, and the proportions, and I wanted to have like a depth of like range. If you're wondering what that jingling bell noise is, that's not reindeer, that's my cat, or one of them, because he's developed this bad habit of wandering under people's feet, tripping them, so now I put a big bell on his neck and he hates it, and I think it's funny. But if you're wondering what that is, yeah, that's just a cat. Anyway, back to the cats that are actually, the focus of this video. Yeah, I've got pre-made like art or drawings of each character for a number of different things, but for these Let's Draw videos I like to actually draw. So we're doing this completely from scratch to sort of show you the entire process as usual. And I've been a fan of Kimba since I was 8 years old, 9 years old, somewhere around that ballpark, and for the longest time I could not draw him. I've been an artist since I could hold a pencil. I've been drawing that long. I wish I had some of my old art too. Oh wait, I do. I actually have a booklet of stuff I drew in kindergarten, I think. I have that. I might just do some redraws of those. That'd be a pretty extreme change. But yeah, I've been drawing for a long time, and when I first got into Kimba, I was like super into it, like I was obsessed with it. But I couldn't draw this kid to save my life, and it took years and years before I actually had like the method down for getting him right. And if you've seen my other videos, you know I can draw almost anything, so even before doing these videos I could draw just about anything, but it took forever for me to actually learn how to draw Kimba for some reason. I don't know what it is about his design or that Tezuka art style, but it was fairly difficult for me to mimic, which is saying something because my art style is heavily influenced by Osamu Tezuka's. So to not be able to draw not only my favorite character of his, but one of the main Star System cast members, it was almost insulting. So I had to figure something out, and as you can see, eventually I did. So I'm proud of that. Anyway, we're at the end of the video. There's the original scene. There's my redraw. Here's a bigger cell of it, and thanks for watching.